The Knicks have a chance to close out their series tonight against Philly at the Garden, and the MSG is going to be absolutely legendary. Our New York Post host and colleague Dexter is covering the game, and he's going to be in the building tonight, so let's get his final thoughts heading into Game 5. I'm looking for you somewhere in between Ben Stiller and Spike Lee on Celebrity Row tonight, Dexter. What's going on, my man? Thanks for hopping on.
What's going on, man? I think you're asking for a little bit too much for me to be on Celebrity Row. That's not going to happen, but I will be in the building. I will be in the building.
You got the other type of C's, the credentials, not courtside, but hey, we're working.
Not courtside.
We're working.
Yeah, the other C's, the other C seats. That's what I got.
All right, let's talk about the environment tonight, man, because we got a lot of fans or basketball fans who are not from New York that are watching and may not have been to the Garden before. You were at the Garden for Game 2. They have a chance to put this series to bed. Take our audience through what the vibes are going to be like tonight at MSG.
Well, if you haven't been to a playoff game at the Garden, you're missing out. And that's whether it's the Knicks or Rangers, but we're here talking about the Knicks, and it's just going to be electric. And when I was there at Game 2, the fans were pumped up, and it was crazy after that victory, obviously that comeback victory by the New York Knicks. But here for Game 5, I think with the opportunity that the fans know that the Knicks have to close this series out, right, Brandon, they're going to be extremely pumped up. They want to see this team close out a series at home. Knicks fans haven't seen that in quite some time. They didn't get to see that in the first round last year because Game 5 was on the road in Cleveland. They have the chance to see that tonight against the Sixers, and I think Knicks fans know this, and the Knicks know this. They want no parts of going back to the city of brotherly love. They want to take care of business tonight, so I think the fans are going to be loud from the start. You're going to hear it in the introductions. You're going to hear it from the opening tip and all the way through. They're going to want to will these Knicks to a victory here on Tuesday night.
All right, they're trying to stay out of the city of brotherly love, and this guy is a brother who is going to get no love tonight. He is the most hated man in the city, Joel Embiid. Knicks fans are going to be all over him tonight. One, how is he going to respond? And two, do you think that Knicks fans being the sixth man tonight can affect his game tonight?
So it's interesting because I was looking at some of the updates today from shoot-around, and Joel Embiid, he missed shoot-around with a migraine today, so still up in the air in terms of whether he'll play or not. I'd be stunned if he did not play. I'd be shocked about that. Kelly Oubre Jr. also with an illness, but as far as how is Embiid going to respond, look, Embiid's been a fighter, and you got to give him credit. He had the 50-piece in Game 3. You've seen him fight. Where the Knicks fans are going to be all over him, to what you were alluding to, is that there's been a lot of talk about his play being dirty. We saw the pull down of Mitchell Robinson. Fans are not going to be happy about that. So what I would say to expect from the fans is every time that man touches the ball, he's going to get booed. That is what's going to happen tonight. I think Embiid knows that if the Sixers are going to win, it's going to be a lot because of him. We saw that in Game 3. He's going to try to come out and have a masterful performance. But I think he also is going to have to make the adjustments in how the Knicks defended him in Game 4 and did such a good job in the fourth quarter of Game 4 when they held him to 1 point. So he's going to want to come out focused. But, Brandon, you know this. Sometimes when an athlete can come out maybe too hyped or too focused, they might try to do too much. And I wonder if that happens with Embiid, especially trying to shut the crowd up with them against him. It'll be interesting to see if he's under control or he tries to do too much here in Game 5.
Well, it's not just the athletes that come out and try and do too much. The fans kind of come out and do too much in these moments. Are you worried about any of that we could see any of that riffraff between the fans and Embiid?
No, I think the Knicks fans are going to try to keep it, to what it should be, right? And that's it. You can boo, you can cheer. You don't want to do too much where, we've seen this around the league sometimes in other sports, and especially with basketball, fans trying to touch players or do too much. That's crossing the line. You never want to see that. You can keep it to booing, keep it to jeering, nothing that crosses any kind of lines. I don't think the fans will do too much. I think they'll be fine. I think the fans will be more focused on the Knicks trying to get this win.
Yeah, James Dolan going to have that facial recognition technology out of there for anybody who acts up. So you'll never see a Game 5 again. All right. We had our fun with it, the fans, Embiid. Now let's break down some X's and O's. Jalen Brunson got hot in Philly after starting off slow Games 1 and 2 at MSG. I imagine Nick Nurse is going to force someone else to beat them tonight outside of Brunson. So who have to have themselves a big night offensively for the Knicks?
So I'm going to give you two players here. And the one player, if you looked at games 1 and 2, that hit a lot of shots, that's Josh Hart, 8 of 15 from three-point land in games 1 and 2. And Nick Nurse, the way he set up his defense, he was basically daring Josh Hart to beat him, and he did. Now, the other player I think you got to look at is Dante DiVincenzo. He needs to step up. He has not shot the ball well. The last couple of games really hasn't shot it well since game 2. He needs a big-time game. He had some big-time shots in the third quarter of game 4. I think he has to help. It's about the secondary players, the shooters, knocking down the open threes. It wouldn't shock me if Philly traps Brunson a little more than we saw from them in games 3 and 4. We saw that from them in games 1 and 2, where they really blitzed Brunson as soon as he came across half court. I think they may go back to that again, especially with Josh Hart coming off a poor shooting game where he was 0 of 7 from the field. So I think it's likely you see a little bit more pressure on Brunson than we saw the last 2 games. But yeah, I'll put it on Josh Hart in terms of the person that can step up to help Jalen Brunson, and also Dante DiVincenzo. I think those two guys, if they're hitting their outside shot, that'll bode well for the Knickerbockers on Tuesday night.
All right, I'm going to nickname you Dexter Henry Thibodeau right now. So, Coach Tibbs, talk to us like
That's
you're in the locker
name,
room.
man.
That is long. You got a hyphen it in and everything. Might as well put an underscore in there somewhere. Talk to us like you're in the locker room, man. What's the keys to a Game 5 win?
I think the keys to the Game 5 win is getting off to a good start. That's something we haven't seen from the Knicks thus far in the series. In all these games, they've fallen behind and have had to come back. I think it's getting off to a good start, playing off of this crowd, which we talked about, Brandon, which is going to be raucous there at MSG. A couple other things. Keep doing what you're doing on the glass, dominating the boards. The Knicks were the #1 team on offensive boards throughout the regular season. We've seen their dominance in this series, a 40% rebound rate in the series. So they've been doing really good at that. And I think it's sticking with the game plan, even when the shots aren't falling, keeping that defensive intensity. That's what really won the Knicks Game 4. There's a lot of talk about Jalen Brunson and having that 47 piece that he dropped in Game 4, but the Knicks defense was tremendous in that game, holding the Sixers to 92 points, holding Joel Embiid to 1 point in the fourth quarter. So that defensive intensity, their rotations, has to be consistent throughout. Here's the thing, Brandon. The Knicks, they've shown the fight. They've shown the grit all season long. They've never wavered from it when things got tough. You saw that again in Game 4. I would be stunned if you don't see that here. I think they understand the opportunity there, and I think that's what Tom Thibodeau is going to be preaching to them in that locker room today before this game is, look, this is an opportunity we have to close this out. Don't play with your food here. Get the job done, finish your meal, and move on to the next round.
I've got to quote Michael Strahan on this one, stomp him out. You got to stomp him out on this one.
Stomp him out.
Dexter, you're working tonight, so kind of tease what your post-game coverage is going to be like. What can fans expect content-wise?
Yeah, so fans can expect content-wise. We'll have some good reaction post-game. We'll have some stuff on our social media posts, and be sure to follow New York Post Sports on social media. We'll have some content. I'll give you a breakdown of what I think of the first half at halftime. Also, post-game really quick. Ian Begley will be joining me post-game for some content. So we got some good stuff coming, Brandon. Got some good stuff coming tonight. Should be a fun one at the Garden. It'll be more fun if the Knicks win.
Absolutely. Tell Spike and Fat Joe I said what up.
I will when I'm sitting next to them before they usher me to my credentialed seats. I will do that.